So hello everyone. This video is a continuation of the Asian Paints entry which we took, and I was supposed to make this video a little bit back, but I got busy into doing some other stuff. That is why I'm making this video right now. So let's get into the video. So as we all know, and if you haven't watched the previous video, just watch the previous video. It is full of learnings, and you will understand my style of trading into the Indian markets. Basically, I swing trade in the Indian markets because I tried intraday and it is not my forte. And for intraday, I trade some other markets, which I'll be making some videos soon on this channel. So do give a like and follow this channel. So let's get into this video. So did we enter this trade? Why did we exit this trade? So for entry, you can watch the previous video, but I'll just give you a brief about why we enter this trade. So basically, as you can see, this stock was forming a good resistance level, and here it broke the resistance level, but it immediately came down the resistance level, right? So basically, if this was a good resistance level, first of all, it wouldn't have been broken in the first place like this and this, but it was tested 2 to 3 times. So that is when you know resistance is weak, when it's being tested multiple times. So this was my cue for entering this trade. So because it was tested 2 to 3 times, it also gave a breakout here, but immediately it trapped all the first breakout buyers basically. So if you bought here, and you'll place your stop loss right here, and this is where all your stop losses will get executed, and your stop loss is my entry basically. So I was watching this whole move play out, and I knew, because if this was a good resistance, it will be a good support as well. So while it will give a retest, I'll enter on that retest itself. So as we all know, this gave a breakout. Again, there was a good resistance or a good gap level right here, so I knew it was going to take a resistance. As you can see, I have marked this as weekly resistance. So it took a resistance right here, and again it came down. So those who bought right here, right here, right here on all these breakouts just got liquidated as quick as possible, and this was my entry basically. Now if we go on to the 1 hour time frame, you can see how beautiful my entry was. Basically, this was my entry. I was watching this stock. I basically put an alert here, and while this stock was coming down, my alert got triggered, and the stock fell even more. So again, I put this alert for my entry, and this is the candle where my alert got executed. I'll show you right here. This is the 1 hour candle, and you can see it gave a break of structure, because as we all know, this was forming a lower high, lower low, lower high, again a lower low, but it failed to form a lower high, right? So this is a higher high than this candle. So I knew this was going to be my entry point. So let's go to my journal. As you can see right here, August 9, 2024, 2:22 p.m. So this is the 130 to 230 candle. So this is where my entry was at 299.35. So approximately 3000 was my entry point, calculating all the brokerage and charges XYZ. So I entered with 28 quantity, and that day itself it was giving me a 1:1 reward, because this is why you have to be accurate with your entry, right? You have to mark your zones, you have to place your orders, you have to play to your strength. That is one thing you should learn to do in the Indian markets, because Indian markets play with liquidity quite very well. That's it. That is why you need to know where your entry zones are, where your exit zones are, where are your liquidity zones. So basically, this was my liquidity zone. I knew that this is where all the stop losses are going to be played out, and exactly that happened, and I just entered on their stop losses. Again, it was giving me 1:1 reward, and my SL was very small, so approximately 1.5% was my SL. If you can see right here, so this was my SL of 50 rupees, and if we just calculate this, that day itself it was giving me 50 rupees profit. So I was in profits of 1:1 reward that same day, right? So this is why your entry should be precise. You should know your entry points, you should know your exit points. And the next day, what happened, I was tracking the stock, and in the morning itself, it opened gap down, which wasn't worrying, but it was close to my take profit. My first take profit was right here, because this is where the down move came from. If you can see right here, this is where the gap was created, this is where the closing was of the previous day, and this is where the stop loss hunting day was, right? So this is where the gap was. I didn't want to take any risk. I was happy with the risk to reward I was getting, so I exited right here on this candle. If I'll take you to 15 minutes chart, and you can see why my entry was so important, why my exit was so important, right? Because if you can see right here what this stock did, it is pretty important to be in sync with your psychology. The psychology should be sync with the charts, with your way of trading, with your way of swing trading, investing, whatever it is. You should know what you are going to do. That is all it matters. No other person in this world is going to understand what you are going to do or what you are doing. So only you need to understand what is your plan, and you should trade according to your plan. That is the best strategy I will, or the best piece of advice I will ever give to anyone. You should know your plan and you should trade according to that plan. That is it. That is all you need to do in the markets, and you will be profitable, as I guarantee you that, right? So I knew that I was not going to go for this gap right here. I wasn't going to play for this gap because I don't know where the liquidity might come and the stock will fall. So what I did was I just exited at this level where the opening of that day was. So basically this was my take profit number 1, and this was my take profit number 2. I did not wait for take profit number 2 because I was happy with the gains I was getting in one day, right? So if you can see right here, my exit was on August 12th 9:30 p.m. in the morning itself. This was the first 5 minutes candle, and this was the first 15 minutes candle. So I exited right here, and as you can see what happened afterwards, this is what happened afterwards. It gave a big sell off immediately after I exited this trade. And if I know myself, my psychology would not be able to handle this, because I was in a profit of 1:1.5 here, and right after 15 minutes I'm at 0, I'm at break even, right? So my psychology wouldn't have able to handle this, and I would just exit over here, I don't know where, right? So it is always better to play according to your rule, according to your trading plan, right? So this is where my trading plan was. I was planning to exit right here or either here, whichever way I was comfortable with. So right here it was giving me a good enough decent profit, and one of the reason I exited is because it gave my TP immediately the next day, right? So as you can see right here down, this is 9th August and this is Monday 12th August. So Friday was my entry and Monday was my exit. This came immediately, and that is why I exited my trade. If this did not happen and something like this would happen, I would have waited, but it gave an immediate move, and that is why I exited this trade. So afterwards you can see this gave a good fall in the next 15 minutes, but after that it moved. I'll take you to 1 hour time frame. Yeah, and after that it came to my again it came to my entry, and after that you can see this is the move I was planning to play out, but eventually it happened and not immediately. See, there's a difference in this move and in this move. This move happened literally because there was trapping right here, and this move was a healthy move, and that is why it broke out even more. So this was the movement I was planning to enter, but either way I got my target, and I'm happy with my exit, and I'm happy with my entry. Afterwards it came, and again it is currently at a support, so I'm again planning to enter in this trade. I'll brief on that as well. Let's move on to the daily time frame. Firstly we'll go to the weekly time frame, and this is how I analyze any stock, right? So let's remove the previous positions. Yeah, so this is the weekly time frame. Are there any key levels which I should be looking for? Not on the weekly time frame. So let's move on to the daily time frame, and as you can see right here, this was the resistance which it was unable to break, and eventually it gave a down move right here, trapped all the sellers here, uh, trapped all the sellers right here, and again gave an up move. And again, if it traps this at this levels, or if this breaks down and gives a doji something like this, I'll again enter in this stock, and I'll probably take a target of right here, this tool. Yeah, I'll take something like this will be my, again, if this forms a lower low and then breaks the structure, then only I'll take this trade. This forms something like this and breaks this structure of lower high lower low and moves upward, I will take this entry again, right? So this is the future plan for it. But basically I hope you learn something from this video. If I'll move to the journal, as you can see right here, I've been tracking the stock. This is where I write all my thoughts, what I'm thinking, what is the trade plan, what is my execution going to be, and what is my execution in the live markets, what I'm thinking in the live markets. I track everything to the last molecule, right? So as you can see right here, on 9th of August, been tracking the stock for a while now, good volumes in recent week, and the same trapping setup. So this is one of my setups which I trade, which is the trapping setup. Then SL is around 1600 rupees, charges included, TP is around 1:2%, right? And on the very next trading day, which was on Monday, on 12th of August, exited the stock at 9:30 in the morning, as it was at a resistance level, and I had already secured 1:1.5 risk to reward in 2 days, which was absolutely amazing for my in my trading journey, or in according to my trading plan, I should say. Good call to exit the trade without any hesitation, and my mind did not block any information the market were giving me. I simply acted out on the information the market was presenting to me, both times when entering the trade and exiting the trade. This is absolutely important information. You should be acting out on your trading plan, on the data which you have back tested, on the trading plan you have, and not on what you think might happen, or what you believe might happen, or what some other people say might happen. You should know your trading plan, and you should execute the trades according to plan. That is it. None of the things which are happening in your personal life or in your day-to-day life should affect your trading plan. You are not feeling well, that is why you didn't take the trade. This is unacceptable. This is the last thing you need to be a successful trader. This is going to delay your process way too much. You should have a plan. If you are going to enter at 100 rupees, you should enter at 100 rupees, no matter what you are feeling or what you are thinking. It is your plan to enter at 100 rupees, you should enter at 100 rupees, right? So basically this is what I've wrote. I simply acted out on the information the market was presenting, both times while entering the trade and while exiting the trade as well. Great progress in the psychology sector as well as the execution sector. Yes, we'll give this trade a 10 out of 10. Lesson: take action. So this is what I did. I took action. I had a plan, I executed the plan, I got the reward. This is as simple as it gets, right? So the risk multiplier, as you can see right here, is 1:1.6 approx. So this was basically the trade which I took. I also took another trade which was kind of a break even. It was an advanced setup right here. I'll just take you to my journal, and it was in Tata Steel, and my entry was around 21st August at 154. I'll just put the position right here, 21st August, right? Yeah, 21st August, 154. I'll just put entry as 153.97 something, I believe. Yeah, 153.97, and my exit was 154. So basically I'll just give you a brief of how this trade went. Yeah, so basically this was the trading plan. I exited right, I entered right here on this candle. I'll move on to the 1 hour time frame so you'll understand much better. So as you can see right here, the same trapping setup, this is where the trap happened. This was the support and it broke the support, and again it came back up. Whenever a support is broken from far away, it is bound to bounce back, right? It is like if you are throwing a tennis ball from a much higher force, it is bound to bounce back rather than just throwing it with a little force. When you throw it with a little force, it will fall down right then and there, but if you're throwing it with a much higher force, it is going to bounce back from the wall, right? So this is throwing from the far away which I'm talking about, right? So if this did something like this, took some time and then broke, I wouldn't have entered in this trade, but this is what it did. That is why I entered on this day. So it gave a move right here, but I wasn't uh, sure about my entry because it opened gap up and it fell in the first hour, so that is why I wasn't comfortable with the entry. But I entered on this very next day, and after I entered, it took some time, went down, and this was my SL because basically this was the gap which was created, and if this move down, my logic for the trade would have been nullified or would have been wrong, and that is why this was my entry. This was my stop loss. So your stop loss should be logical and based on some logic. My trade was, it was because forming a higher high, and if this was a lower low, if this forms a lower low, my trade basically is, my trade logic is basically getting cancelled because it is forming a lower low, and I don't need to be in this trade after that, right? Because my logic for this trade, logic for my entry is getting over, so I don't need to be in that trade, and that is why this is my stop loss. So basically this was my stop loss, and after that day it was showing me some loss, and after the next day it was at break even again. And here, right here, as you can see, I even wrote it in my journal as well. I'll show you that on 26th, from the first day I'll show you. The stock gave a great pullback on the upside and is now trading at break even. Now I have a downside level as a higher high, and that's why I'm going to trail my SL to that level, right? So what I did, I attached the this was my entry basically, as you can see. And on this day, because it formed a higher low, because this was the lower low, right? As you can see, this is the higher low, right? So on the charts, this is what it looks like. Yeah, on the charts, as you can see, so this formed a lower low right here, right on this day. And I'm so sorry, right on this day it formed a lower low, so I had a lower level. So I'll just trade my SL right here, right? As you can see, this was my trailing SL. My original SL was 149.59, and my trailing SL was now 150.57. so I trailed my SL of approximately 1 rupees, right? Then then what did the stock do? The stock moved higher high, right? So this was a new higher low and then another higher low, so I trailed my SL even more. So this is the defensive approach I take, because already in this month I was in profit, or in the one trade which I showed you, Asian Paints. So I don't want to lose the profits which I made on that trade. So even if my this SL got triggered, I wouldn't be in a overall loss for this month. Even if my trade was one profit and one trade went into the loss, I will not lose the money I made. I will not lose 100% of the money I made in the first trade, right? So I will risk some amount of profits I made in the first trade, but I will not lose 100% of my profits I made in the first trade, right? Because my psychology will get disturbed, because if I lose 100 rupees in the first, if I win 100 rupees in the first place and I lose 100 rupees in the second place, I'm basically at zero, right? So that is why I will risk 50 to 60 rupees of the first profits I made, right? So this is why this is what I do to have a defensive approach. I will trail my SL, logically trail my SL, not just because I feel this is going to be a losing trade. I will just exit. That is fear of the trade, and you will never learn, and you will never learn how to hold your winners if you are fear of this. If you fear that your SL is going to be triggered or your trade is going to be a losing trade, you will never hold a winning trade, right? And that is why this is what I do. I just trail my SL logically, right? So as you can see right here, this is a logical trailing setup. It was forming a higher low, and somewhere below the higher low is my SL, right? So again trail my SL, again trail my SL because it was giving me a risk to reward of 1 is to 1.5. Again trail my SL to break even, as you can see. So after the stock did something like this, I trailed my SL. This is what the stock went into a higher high, and this is where I trailed my SL, and it got triggered this day. And as you can see right here, even if I didn't trail my SL, this is where my SL would have triggered, or this is when my SL would have been triggered, right? So this is why you need to have a defensive approach when you already have a winning trade. And I was lucky that I got out of this trade at break even, because it was in a very choppy zone right here, and I don't want to be in a trade where it is way too much choppy, right? So that is why I exited at break even, made some losses I guess, but that's irrelevant. As you can see, 0.20% losses, which is not as much as the profits I made in the first Asian Paints trade. So as you can see right here, out of the uh, uh, as you can see, my win ratio is 73% and my losing ratio is 27%. So this is why even if I exited 1 is to 1, I will make profit, right? So I hope you had some learnings from this video, and do give a thumbs up, do like this video, do share it with your trading friends or whomever you think will understand or getting into the markets for learning purposes. And I hope you guys trade well, and happy trading.